The B-movie has been a thing forever. These are usually simple films made on a low budget and with a lot of cut corners. Now, they can be fun, but they definitely pale in comparison to the big budget blockbusters that they seek to replicate. The same concept actually occurs with video games as well. A new game comes out to explosive popularity, and shortly after we'll see a deluge of games that come out copying whatever it was that made that game unique. However, these games usually lack the polish or heart that helped set that original game apart. Marlow Briggs is a cheap clone of the original God of War games. On top of copying the God of War combat formula, the game also takes a ton of shortcuts in production and storytelling. So is this game worth checking out in spite of all that? Or is it just an empty shell of the game whose coattails it's riding? Let's talk about it. The story of Marlow Briggs is simple. Visiting his girlfriend, who just so happens to be the only historian who knows anything about some mystical ancient people in South America, her employer reveals that he's super evil and kills Marlow. Or so he thinks. Because he killed him with this ancient possessed spear or something, Marlow is now possessed by the ancient spirit Aku Aku from the Crash Bandicoot games. He's got to save his girlfriend, and by Jove, he'll mercilessly kill countless faceless mercenary bad guys to do it. In classic God of War formula, as you go, you unlock new weapons and abilities that you can use to kill enemies. From a gameplay perspective, Marlow Briggs is a passable substitute for God of War. Combat is fine and fluid enough. The different weapons do feel different and at least seem to serve a purpose. I was pretty disappointed with the magic abilities that you get, as it felt like it was really limited in how frequently you could use them. Over time, combat does start to feel somewhat tedious, even with all this variety, because you are just essentially button mashing your way through every encounter. Similar to God of War, in between fights there's some basic platforming and the occasional puzzle. In this area, the game's lack of polish really shines. I found platforming to be painful. It felt so easy to miss jumps or lose control of Marlow between the changes in the fixed camera perspective. The puzzles were all very simple, essentially requiring you to drag a giant box across a huge area, which personally I have never found fun in any game, ever. The game also attempts to spice itself up with these little turret sections or mini games like overhead shooter, shoot 'em up kind of sections. There's others where you like slide down a hill. These suck. They're so painful. It felt like they put the bare minimum effort into these sections, and they played more like a Unity demo compared to a fully fleshed out game experience. As mediocre as the gameplay can be, it is S+ tier when you compare it to the story and the cutscenes of this game. I get that B movies and games have limited budgets, but I've never understood how they seem to all feel like it's okay to just rush past story beats in the edit. So much of this game just happens without any real or meaningful explanation. Why is Marlow alive? Who is the spirit possessing him? What exactly is going on exactly? Who cares? Just mash the X button and fight everyone. More understandable but equally disappointing are the cutscenes. There was clearly no budget for animators because every cutscene in this game is just a handful of still images stitched together, hinting at epic battles or daring escapes from giant explosions. These all, of course, happen off-screen. It really does feel like they cut corners so large that there's barely anything left. At the end of the day, Marlow Briggs is fine if you're looking for a God of War clone, but don't just want to replay the original God of War games, or Dante's Inferno, or the first two Darksiders games, or really any other God of War clone. And given the age of all of the games that this game is copying, it's hard to even use this game's low price as a selling point. Yes, I did get it for $2 during the last Steam sale, but I'm sure you could get those other games for pretty cheap at this point as well. And when you play those games, you don't actually sit and wonder what you're doing with your life or why you are giving so much time to this kind of a game. So for a final rating, I would give the presentation a 1 out of 5, the story a 1 out of 5, and the gameplay a 2.5 out of 5, for a final rating of a 2 out of 5. And for value, I would say skip it. It's not even worth the $2 I paid for it on sale. But what do you think? Is this game actually good? Did I miss the point? I guess it's kind of like fun in that so bad it's good kind of way, but that doesn't translate from movies to games as well, I don't think, personally. Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you all with the next video.